We're going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner. I got to go bold, right? I got to go bold for this.
Yeah, she's got some nice.
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're out there on YouTube, and also rate the show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. What is going on, Bears fans? Today, we are going to be breaking down the Chicago Bears versus the Cleveland Browns and talk about why there's a couple weaknesses in this this very, very good defense that we're going to be going up against with the Cleveland Browns, and also just will our defense actually look good against this miserable Browns offense and what to watch out for. So what is good, Bears fans? I see Drax out there asking about Ozzy Trapillo. We'll talk a little bit about that because I normally like to start out with that little all 22 review description and stuff like that. So definitely will be breaking that down. But bear down, my friend. Hope all is well. And let me load up a little bit of my notes and we can get started. So like I said before, I usually like to kind of start this show off with just kind of like what I saw on the all 22. And Drax, I know you kind of talked about like with Ozzy Trapillo, and I'll kind of get started on my just review of the offensive line a little bit. So last game, when I was watching the tape, it just felt like we were doing so many outside play actions, bootlegs, and trying to kind of like shield the offensive line a little bit. So to me, we didn't have a lot of good reps on tape, in my opinion. And I know like the PFF grade was like an elite pass block grade for Ozzy Trapillo. I'm not trying to diminish that or anything like that specifically, but you could definitely tell also the benefit of having Joe Thuney. Like Ozzy would literally just like his job was if he was going against, Micah Parsons, he would just pass him off to Joe Thuney. And there was even a play later on in the game where Parsons goes around the outside and they literally have Thuney run to the right side just to block him. It's everything that I saw. It just adds more to just Joe Thuney being an amazing addition, just an amazing pickup. And still, Drew Dahlman looks really good at the center position, very consistent on what you see on tape. And Jonah Jackson, though, and it kind of confirmed what I was seeing. Jonah Jackson has kind of struggled against some NFC North opponents. Wasn't his best game, especially in the past. You saw him miss a good amount of blocks. And Darnell Wright, too. Maybe that elbow was really kind of throwing him off. In pass blocking, still not great. But Ozzy still looks a little clumsy in the run game. That is something for sure, is that still a little clumsy in the run game. But I still think that he's better than what I was seeing out of Theo Benedette. Now, and I want to also correct something too, because sometimes I'll listen to different shows and they're like, well, Ozzy stopped Max Crosby. He didn't stop Max Crosby. It was multiple, like it was tight end chipping and like constant that. You could definitely tell that they still are trying to protect Ozzy, but I like that they're doing that, right? Because we had an offensive coordinator last year that would never protect or try to just chip an amazing pass rusher. So I'm glad that the Bears at least have game plans to stop a pass rusher like that, and also assist a rookie 2nd-round pick that you honestly didn't expect to really start at that left tackle spot. And so I really like the way that they're at least helping him out with that. Now, do I think that we have the left tackle of the future? I think what Ozzy Trapillo gives you is he gives you flexibility. So depending on how the draft board falls to you come April, I think that gives you flexibility to say, we need defensive linemen, right? I would rather draft a defensive lineman with that pick. Now, if Caden Proctor, the offensive lineman out of Alabama, I still haven't done my my tape watch of him yet, but everything on paper seems like he'd be an insane potential left tackle to have. So that might be the only person I kind of look at and go, okay, you might be a little bit better. I might want to take that upside pick. But he really does just show that what you have right now at the offensive line at this current point, it's good. It's good. But then, as we always do, let's talk a little bit about this. But yeah, Max and Micah, he's also been chipped. So back with Max Crosby, I know I see the question out there. Max Crosby, yeah, he was getting Max Crosby was getting chipped during the Raiders game. And I've just heard a lot of other podcasters kind of talk about Ozzy taking out Max Crosby. And I'm like, I don't know about that. But like Micah Parsons is just so good. Just seeing the speed. And he really was in the fourth quarter, was able to kind of just dominate. But the other piece too, the other thing that I want to kind of talk about that, as I always do, just the overall performance of Caleb. Now, the overall performance of Caleb, I charted him as like 20, as expected throws, right? So just kind of general throws. I want to see more stuff out there in just the general throws, because then just the regular plays, I gave him 7 total above expectation throws. So 2 I graded as good throws, 3 great throws, which is the most that I've ever graded him for, and then 2 really good reads where I thought that he went through his progressions very well and delivered a very good ball. But then, and also too, just so everyone knows, the as expected is just general throws that you expect a QB to make. But then we get down to the negatives, and I have 8 negative, like below expectation plays. So 4 of them, just bad spots. It just continues with the inaccuracies. Then also just 2 bad throws, just completely bad throws. And then also 2 bad reads. Now, there was a lot that were kind of borderline that I just kind of threw in the middle, but still the same stuff that we've just typically seen, right? Now, we all know what happened with the Cole Kmet play. It's bad on Caleb. It's a bad throw by Caleb. That's what it was. And like what Caleb said, he makes that throw 9 times out of 10. Now, I'm glad that he's confident with that, but unfortunately, when you watch the tape, he has been inaccurate. And also, the other thing that I noticed too, because I know a lot of people talk about DJ Moore, the thing that I consistently see with him and DJ Moore is if DJ is the first read, Caleb usually looks off of it a little bit quick. Now, I don't know what that is. DJ then usually is open after that. I don't know what it is. It's just something about him and DJ Moore. They just don't see eye to eye. They just don't have a good connection, whatever it might be, because DJ is getting open. He really is. And a lot of the times that, like I said, when he is the first read, he looks off after a little bit. So why? It's tough to know why, right? And it might just be like, maybe it is, I'm just complete speculation. Maybe it is DJ's body language. Maybe he doesn't have full confidence that he's going to run it at full speed, right? I know I wouldn't, because sometimes the way DJ acts, I wouldn't be. So maybe it's that. Yet again, pure speculation, just because they just seem so off. And there's really no other, like I'll see it every now and again with Rome where he looks past Rome before Rome even breaks into his route. But he does it a lot. He does it a lot with DJ Moore very, very frequently. So, and DJ is getting open. There are a lot of plays of that. So yeah, everything just points to, it just makes sense to move on from DJ next year through a trade, right? A trade is the only way that you want to do it. That's how I would kind of go with it. But let's see, we got Tucker Man out there. Bear down to you, my friend. Yeah. And exactly, are they preparing to trade him? I do think that, right now they're under the cap for, or over the cap next year. So I could see them thinking about it. I know, speaking of Max Crosby, Raiders fans want DJ Moore. It's like, yeah, we'll trade you DJ for Max Crosby, right? We might have to trade an extra little pick, but I'm fine with that, right? Save some cap, bring in some of that cap too, and then probably be able to push around a little bit of that. So that's personally, yeah, I don't mind the sound of that. I know it's just Bears fans and Raiders fans having discussions on Twitter, but that would be pretty cool if that ended up happening. So overall, I just think that it's the continuous piece of Caleb. Caleb gets out of the pocket like crazy, like an absolute madman. And also too, just there's the continued inaccuracies. And quite frankly, it is somewhat concerning. And I know someone might be just freaking out or panicking about that, but you don't have to freak out. It's just calling a spade a spade. When someone continues to do something week after week after week, that's where it just gets a little bit like, what is going on as to why there's so many inaccurate passes? There's a lot of really bad passes coming from Caleb. And it is, if you're hitting those things, just and I know some people might say, well, it's his first year in the offense. I'm talking about just he's going to his first read missing a throw. Like, that's what's going on with this. So I know it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but that's the reality of the situation. So yet again, they're still able to move the ball on offense, and this also is a reason why to be excited about this offense moving forward, because even with these misfires, the offense has still been phenomenal. There was a stat that no one's gotten over 300 yards against the Packers at Lambeau, except for the Bears. So this offense, even with that, we're still able to get this. So that's my feeling. But let's actually continue going on, and let's actually start to preview this game, and let's talk about the injury impact. So the injuries that are out there, there's only two did not participate today, Kyler Gordon and Travis Homer. Also, there is some rumors that Kyler Gordon might even be placed on injured reserve, just because it's not a promising sign that he got injured on a essentially like not a football injury. And when you have that soft tissue injury like the groin, it might make sense to just put him on IR. So the rumor is that he might go on, but nothing confirmed as of Wednesday. But it's not promising when you're seeing him not participate and you expected him to be out there last week and he ends up not going. So I want to see him out there. We saw him even limited 2 weeks before, but yeah, it might just be the CJ Gardner-Johnson show, and hopefully he can then get the coverage a little bit better, because the coverage, as we all know, was abysmal. They were really able to just pick him apart in man coverage. So to get Kyler would be big, but not holding my breath this week. Travis Homer was the other DNP, yet again, more of a special teamer. But the other big ones, Alameda, Tyreek, and Rome, all limited participants today. So my guess is hopefully they'll play. Rome, obviously, we missed him last week, just with him and just him being the other opposite of DJ, and also the opposite, the other complement to Luther Burden. But then also, too, Tyreek Stevenson. Low-key, I think that would be a big add back, just because Nick McLeod, even though Nick McLeod played very well, just having the Tyreek insurance for a Jalen Johnson, I think is big time. But also, too, I think what you're seeing with Nashawn Wright is putting Jalen on the right-hand side of the defense, and then keeping Nashawn Wright where normally Jalen Johnson lines up. Really kind of is a telling sign that Tyreek is going to be the backup coming back. Like, that's where he's going to be playing. And also with Jalen getting some reps here and there, I think having Tyreek back would be quite nice. Tyreek is used to doing this with Terrell Smith. So that to me is a pretty good addition back, just to have a little bit more depth. But as we kind of continue on to the Cleveland Browns, a couple DNPs, Joe Bitonio, their left guard, phenomenal, has a knee and a back injury. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he won't be out there. Also, Jack Conklin with a concussion did not participate yesterday. So yet again, fingers crossed he won't be out there. One of just still a continuously good tackle. And then also Grant Delpit, illness and groin, did not participate. Mason Graham, the rookie D tackle that's been playing pretty well, did not participate today with a rib injury. And also Aiden Huntington did not participate with a quad injury. David Njoku didn't participate with a knee injury. Dylan Sampson did not participate with a calf injury. Wyatt Teller did not participate with a calf injury. Cedric Tillman, DNP, with a concussion and a rib injury. Denzel Ward did not participate with a calf injury. And also, but wait, there's more. Malik Collins, their defensive tackle, will not be playing, from what I heard, at the defensive tackle spot. Now that is an injury report. That is a beast of an injury report, with a lot of injuries out there. So obviously, I don't know all the ins and outs for who exactly is going to be playing for the Browns, but especially at this point in the season, that's where, to me, I'm kind of feeling like if I were them, I'd take it easy with Bitonio. I'd take it easy with Denzel Ward, with Wyatt Teller, and a lot of those other players out there. So that's my feeling. But also too, huge defensive injuries out there. And then let's see what else is here too. We got Here I stand brokenhearted. My hope for playoffs hath barely started. Packers, Smuggies, I've been bombarded. DJ Moore was discarded. Okay enough. My poetry is retarded. Very, very good. I love it. What a poet. We got poets out there in the chat. Love it, love it. So let's continue to. So we talked about the injuries, what they potentially have for the Browns. So let's talk a little bit more about this Bears offense, because actually just overall with the Browns coming in, like Taco Man is saying, like what Taco Man is saying out there, this should be a walk in the park. Browns aren't that good. So the Browns, when I first saw the line, Bears were opened up as 7.5-point favorites, and it's actually gone all the way out to 8. I don't know the exact line here, but I remember saying like, ooh, 7.5. I might have to take the Browns side with that plus money, right? Because that seems, with the plus points, that seems like a lot for the Bears to beat them by. But on the flip side, you look at FPI, Football Power Index, the Bears are actually set on a neutral field, 8-point favorites, and we're playing in Chicago, and it also should be negative 20 degrees out there. The other thing too, DVOA has the Bears as the 20th best team, and also the Browns as the 30th best team. This Browns team is not great, but this defense, though, is absolutely ferocious. So if we're talking about this Bears offense and who they're going to be playing with this defense, it's crazy good. This defense is legit. When you look at it, the EPA based, this is the number 3 EPA per play. This is the number 5 EPA per pass and number 2 EPA against the run. For expected points contributed, they're number 3 overall from a defense perspective, number 1 against the run for in the expected points contributed metric, and also number 4 against the pass, number 4 in pressure rate, and number 6 in blitz rate. So also too, they can get pressure with the front 4, because Myles Garrett is the current number 1 graded edge in all of football according to PFF. And if you just simply watch them, you got to agree. He's just been absolutely insane. He's capable of wrecking the entire game. And even though that he can wreck an entire game, he also can wreck the entire game, but also they will lose the game. He currently has a whopping 20 sacks. Like, I don't even believe it. Like, I literally am going to like double check. Like, I don't believe it. 20 sacks in a game already, or this season. He's just insane. And he's having a career year, but unfortunately, with the way that this Browns team has been playing, they haven't been able to capitalize yet again. Maybe you shouldn't have just signed a huge contract with the Browns, and he should have been traded to the Bears. You know, that's what should have ended up happening. The other piece, though, is as we continue to look through this, Mason Graham has been good against the pass primarily. He's number 11 in ESPN's pass rush win rate. And also Graham and Malik Collins, who Malik Collins shouldn't be out there this week. Graham is top 10 in run stop percentage. So Mason Graham has had a pretty good year for the rookie out of Michigan. Also, ESPN's win rates has this defensive line as number 1 in both pass rush win rate and run stop win rate. So this line, even, just because of Myles Garrett, this line is just absolutely insane. And even their other defensive end, Alex Wright, he's PFF's number 2 highest graded run defense. So very, very good run defender. And just really Shelby Harris up the middle, Mason Graham up the middle. This is a good defensive line. This is a good defensive line. Linebackers are good with Deion Bush and Carson Schweschinger. So good all the way around. But as we always like to do, how can you beat this? Because when you're looking at this defense, they run the number 1 the highest rate of single high. So first off, Ben Johnson, you can beat certain defenses if you know what coverage they are running. They run single high, the highest rate in the entire NFL. So hopefully Ben Johnson kind of figures something out with that. They run the 32nd rate of 2 high, which is, 2 high cover 2 safeties, which helps protect against the deep ball, which they are number 20th in EPA per play for deep balls and number 21 for intermediate range when throwing. So if we're talking about keys to the game, spots to attack, it is -20 right now. It is going to be -20 with the wind chill. It is going to be cold. It is going to be windy. But if you want to beat this defense, where you can beat them is intermediate and deep. When they're running single high, and they haven't been as good when they're running too high, so they're 14th in EPA when running too high shells, this is a defense that can be attacked in those ranges. And then also, they're number 5 in EPA per pass when they're targeted short. Also, if you're curious about the run, they're number 6 in both inside and outside runs. So it's not like the Packers or other defenses that we play where they're only good at defending one. They're good at defending both. So you can try and establish the run. Usually what you've seen is that if someone's able to run it on them, it's more of like a gash for a long range. So to me, I feel like Swift might be the better back in this situation. Now, as we always got to think about it, is Swift's head on right? Because he's going against a really good defense, and we know that sometimes we can get good Swift and bad Swift. This is a very, very difficult defense. You have to be able to try and bust out a big run against them. So to me, last week I was saying that should be the Monungai show. This week I would try to give it to Swift a little bit more than Kyle Monungai, just because of the overall matchups that you're going to be going against. This is a tough defense. This is a good defense. A speedier, quicker back like Swift would probably be the best bet. But also, too, like I'm talking about the intermediate and deep parts of the field, having roam back would definitely help with that, because then you can target deeper developing routes like that. And also, too, if you're looking at who to target, they're also number 14 in EPA per play in the middle of the field. So not the best, not the best thing to take advantage of, but just overall, Bears already run very long developing routes, a lot of sail routes, as we've talked about in the past. So to me, I actually think that this matches up very well for Caleb Williams on paper, because Caleb is not dinking and dunking. He is passing it a little bit farther than the sticks. He's usually averaging around 10 yards per attempt. So to me, I kind of like this. But it is, the big thing is, as we were talking about at the very beginning when we're breaking down the all 22, it's that accuracy. I know it's going to be cold. I know it's going to be windy. This is Chicago. That's what you're going to have to do in December. Toyota-thon Jared Love figured it out, and now Caleb Williams needs to figure it out too in Chicago. So that's the big thing to me. That's what I'm going to be looking out for when we're talking about this offense versus this defense. So let's see what y'all are saying. Mark saying rip it with Swift and Kyle. I love it. And then also we got Rod saying, look what the Titans did. Yeah, they did run. And I think a big thing too is Pollard was able to break off that 65-yarder. So yet again, trying to get that big play and then kind of break it off that way. Because let me pull up a couple of their other big ones that they had. The other big games. So last week against the Titans and then the 49ers. So against the 49ers, let me see. Against the 49ers, come on. Christian McCaffrey, 20 carries for 2.7 yards a carry. Brian Robinson, 3.3 yards a carry. And then when we're looking at the Tennessee Titans, the overall recap, yeah, like as we know, Pollard went off with that. Pollard, 6.4 yards a carry, 25 carries, 161 yards, and a long of 65. Tajay Spears, 8 carries for 19 yards. Yet again, those big rushes were the big thing that they wanted to go after. So big runs, that's going to be the way to kind of gash those guys out there. So also Broski, what's good, my friend? Saying Caleb needs to start completing passes. Tired of his low completion. Agreed. And also Monungai needs 70% of the carries, he's saying out there. Loving some Kyle Monungai. And then Broski saying trade Jalen, trade Kyler and DJ this offseason. So, yeah, I agree with DJ. Kyler and Jalen would be interesting. I want to see Jalen out there, but yeah, it's the injuries. The big question will be the injuries. I wish that if we were going to get rid of them, trade them high, right? But unfortunately, they're both not looking good. They're both looking like they're not going to be able to be full health, right? So 100%. So let's kind of look at this Bears team, the Bears offense. Like we're saying, if we're going to try and target something, target the intermediate side of the field, because even though that they have a very good front seven, or nowadays it's more of a front six, they still have some decent secondary. So Denzel Ward, according to PFF, has not had a great season so far. Not a typical Denzel Ward season, as he's getting close to 29 years old. Right now, he is 83rd in PFF coverage grade when comparing him to other cornerbacks. And Miles Harden is 85th graded cornerback out there. And then also Tyson Campbell having a pretty good season this year, but really more so in the run, with the 20th highest graded run defense grade and the 52nd highest graded coverage grade. Down in the secondary, Ronnie Hickman, the safety from the Ohio State Buckeyes, 28th overall safety grade, and Grant Delpit, a pretty good safety out there with the 26th highest graded defense grade. So, like we were just talking about, this is a pretty good defense. Pretty good defense. Secondary can be a little bit more vulnerable, and with them playing a lot of single high, you can then try to attack them deep. So, also, big piece too, you got Myles Garrett. The Bears have been going against top edge rusher versus top edge rusher versus top edge rusher. Now, besides Myles Garrett, the rest of the defensive line is solid. I don't think that they're like Shelby Harris is not going to wreck the game. He's just a good player. And Mason Graham, he's like we were talking about, pretty good from a pass rush perspective. So my big question is, what are we going to get out of Jonah Jackson? Are we going to get this Jonah Jackson that plays unbelievable? Or are we going to get NFC North Jonah Jackson where it's kind of subpar performance? And even though we're talking about Alex Wright's been a solid pass rusher. Really, their biggest pass rush threat has been Myles Garrett. So that's the person to watch out for. You don't need me to tell you about that, but the guy can just simply wreck games. So maybe what the Bears end up doing is running a lot of, play action, just opposite side to him. And I feel like that's what the Packers were thinking the Bears were going to do. And that's why they also have kind of snuffed out a couple of those play actions too. So that is what we kind of have for this Bears offense versus this Browns defense. So my question is, what matchup are you watching out for this offense versus the defense? And to me, I'm not going to go with Trapillo versus Garrett, just because I know they're going to probably do something similar and try to pass him off to Joe Thuney like they did with like what they did there. But to me, the offensive matchup that I'm looking out for is I'm going to go with, I think Rome is going to be out there. So I'm going to say you know what? I'm not even going to have a defensive person. I'm going to say Caleb and Rome is my matchup to watch out for, because the Caleb and Rome connection has not been there. It's less than 50% when Rome Odunze is targeted. And if you're trying to target the intermediate and deep levels of the field, you need to have a relationship with your wide receiver and be on that same page to be able to attack. So to me, if Rome's playing, which I feel he will, just because he was limited today, my belief is that he's going to be out there. That's actually my matchup to watch out for, because it's more of Caleb delivering the ball to Rome. That to me is the biggest matchup to watch out for, rather than the other defensive lineups that are out there. The second one would be Jonah Jackson versus Mason Graham, just because everyone else is going to be focused on Myles Garrett. So don't mess that matchup up. So let's talk a little bit about, though, this defense, or this Bears defense going against this offense. So this, the Bears defense, the Cleveland Browns offense versus this Bears defense. My apologies. Some of you might hear, my family has, we have the flu right now, influenza A. So it is not good. One of my kids has pneumonia, and we're all sick with the flu right now. So powering through as much as I can. So after this, getting some Dayquil or something to try and just kind of kickstart it. But I'll be good for game day, hopefully. Fingers crossed. But let's get into this Bears defense and talk a little bit about it. This offense that they're going to be going against is crap. It is crap. Like, they should not be able to score as much as they did when they went against the Titans. You know, they look good against the Titans. Luckily, our defense should not play as bad as the Titans. If they did, that is going to be, this defense should not be as bad as that horrific Titans defense. So if we're looking at this Browns offense overall, this Browns offense is FPI's worst offense graded by over 4 points. So yet again, think of it like a Vegas grading system with the different points. I think that the worst was like the Titans at -6. And then this is graded as the worst by -10. So terrible offense that we're going to be going against. For EPA per play, 32nd overall, 32nd passing EPA, and 29th in run EPA. They do get the 5th most yards after contact on runs, though. So there is that. So kind of like what Broski's talking about, stopping Judkins, stopping Sampson, these running backs from getting those extra yards, primarily Judkins, because as soon as he gets hit, he's able to kind of keep on moving and keep on going forward. They also have the second lowest yards before contact at 1.7 yards, which Raiders are number 1 at 1.4. So Bears should be able to hit them behind the line of scrimmage. But we saw this last week going against the Packers. We were missing tackles, and because of that, Josh Jacobs was able to get yards. We have to wrap up. We have to bring him down. So if we're going through just, big time game plan things, number 1, we need to attack middle or to deep levels of the field when it comes down to the pass. Second, on defense, you got to wrap up. That is going to be the biggest thing when we're trying to defend against this running attack. And then also, too, they're number 17 in outside EPA, but everything else is basically not good. So this is the only stat that they do well is running it to the outside, where they're 17th in EPA per play. Everything else is 20s and 30s. This is a horrible offense that the Bears are going to be going against. So yeah, that's all you need to know about this offense. They are just awful. And also, this is going to be the Tevin Jenkins revenge games. As I see some people it's the Tevin Jenkins revenge game where he's playing like Tevin Jenkins. He's been banged up or he's not been playing many snaps, but when he's out there, he's good. PFF has given him a 75.3, and if Joe Bitonio's out there, they have at least 2 good guards. But then when you look at the rest of their line, Cam Robinson has been playing awful. He is the 78th graded tackle in the NFL among 82. And also Luke Weipler, their center, a whopping 27.6 PFF grade. And Levinston, their right tackle, 74th out of 82. So this offensive line, bad except for 2 potential guards. But also, too, the quarterback. Shedeur Sanders having a 54.3 PFF grade as of right now. And looking at some of the stats, let me tell you some of these. So under pressure, Sanders is 34th out of 43. So this is out of 43 qualifying quarterbacks. He is 34th in PFF grade when under pressure. And he's number 3 with the highest turnover-worthy play. He is 42nd lowest NFL rating when under pressure. And also, key little stat here, he has the 9th highest average depth of target when he is pressured. And when you look at the blitz numbers, when he's blitzed, he is number 1 in turnover-worthy play percentage. And what does he do with the ball? He has number 1 in average depth of target when he's blitzed at a whopping 15 yards on average depth of target. So what is he trying to do? He is trying to just bomb it. When he is under pressure, when he is getting blitzed, he is not trying to hit the dump off. He is trying to make a big play happen so his papa is proud. That is what he's doing. That's what the numbers say. Yet again, fairly small sample size because we're talking about a handful of games. But if I told you that a rookie struggled against the blitz and I told you that they would try to throw it deep whenever they were blitzed, you'd probably say that's par for the course. Because also when he's kept clean, he has He has his overall PFF rating is 32nd, but also his average depth of target is the 43rd, is the literal shortest in the NFL when he's kept clean at 5.5. So he is trying to throw it short, but when he's blitzed, he'll just lob it up and throw it long. So if I'm predicting things, Kevin Byard's going to have an interception. If I'm the safeties, I'm licking my chops. Kevin Byard should come away with an interception, because if you're sending a blitz, he should be lobbing it up there for our safeties to try and pick it off. The other thing too, when he's not going against the blitz, he has the 31st highest graded grade on PFF, and he has a 22 turnover worthy play percentage and an average depth of target of number 5. So all that you need to know with this, or 5th shortest. So yet again, continuing to go through this where you got to send a blitz. With this one, you have to send a blitz. But then we get into this other stat, and I swear this is the last stat that I got. Yet again, for those that watch the show, I love just throwing some stats with y'all. So blitz them, blitz them, blitz them. But then we get to this next point. So blitz them, but run a zone. We run the 5th highest percentage of man-to-man snaps. And Shedeur Sanders and rookie quarterbacks in general play better against man-to-man. Why? Because it's, are you beating your person? Yes or no? Zone with the speed of the game is very, very complicated when you're going against a rookie. If I'm Dennis Allen, what you need to look at is send a blitz, but play a zone. Against man coverage, Shedeur Sanders, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and a QBR of 70. Then go against zone, 1 touchdown, 3 interceptions, and a QBR of 8.3. Single-digit QBR. When he's going against zone, he does not know what he's doing. If you're sending a blitz, he does not know what he's doing. If you send a blitz and play a zone at the same time, good things are probably going to happen. And you're talking about a pretty bad offensive line that he's going to be going against. Please, Dennis Allen, I said this last week, do not blitz Toyotathon Jordan Love. He will eat you up, and he did. When he was against the blitz, he destroyed us. When we weren't playing the blitz, now I'm not saying that we dominated him or anything like that, but we played better. So that's the feeling that I feel with this, is that those are my keys to the game. So that is how you can beat this team. Wrap up and also send a blitz, but play more zone. Why? Jerry Jeudy's not having a good year. Cedric Tillman's not having a good year. Isaiah Bond's not having a good year. Harold Fannin Jr. has been a good target for him, and he's been breaking tackles. But yet again, wrap up Harold Fannin, wrap up the running backs, and things should be good. And we got Ron out there. Breaking news. Kyler Gordon got injured again after putting on his helmet. Now, when he first said that, I was like, now is he actually on IR? Because that was something that I was saying. Like, I could see him, like, the rumor is that he might be potentially placed back on, he might actually be back on IR. They'll just have to see how that groin injury is. So something to legitimately look out for this week, and even like potentially next week. Is Kyler Gordon going to be shut down for the season because of that groin injury? So next, with this just defense, like we were talking about, wrapping up, with Action Jackson, Edwards, it was nice to see them more so out there rather than keeping Noah Sewell out there. Noah Sewell, keep him at the Sam linebacker, which it seems like they did. Other than that, like I said, you can send the blitz. You can try to pressure him that way. So all that stuff I'm fine with. The only other thing that I'm kind of bothered by is I am a little bit bothered by the way Jalen Johnson is looking when he's playing. So to me, that is something that just like, what is wrong with him? We can probably rest him if Tyreek Stevenson can be at least back. So something to watch out for with Jalen Johnson. So then next, sorry, had a mini sneeze right there, but I had to hold it back. But yeah, I agree out there with Pentis where Sir Pentis, where it's Jalen Johnson does look pretty darn slow. So for sure, definitely agree with that. So with this defense, let's talk a little bit about this what is the defensive matchup to watch out for against this team? Now, the matchup that I'm watching out for, I kind of mentioned it, Kevin Byard versus Shedeur Sanders. I think that a wily veteran like Kevin Byard. Now, I don't know if I'm actually going to do this because I feel like interception bets can be a little bit of a sucker's bet, but it really feels like this is a Kevin Byard interception game. It's at Chicago. It's, it feels like a time that they're going to do something like that and get an interception with Kevin Byard, like I said, just kind of lobbing it up there for him. But the other piece, too, that I didn't even mention, you probably don't even need me mentioning this, too. Shedeur Sanders has the second highest screen rate at 16% with throwing. And, yeah, so you know that he's going to be throwing a lot of screens. You know they're going to be throwing it short a lot. So that's all that you need to know about this offense and about this Bears defense and how they match up. And also, let's see what you'd expect. Long recovery. He's not in game shape. Yeah, Jalen just doesn't exactly. He just doesn't look like he's in game shape. That's the biggest thing. But next, let's talk a little bit about this special teams review. So I actually have stuff for the special teams review. Normally, I've just been saying keep doing what you're doing, which honestly, they've gotten better. They really have gotten better. And this week, you can do something against this team. They're worse than us. So with it, they allowed the 4th most yards per kick return and the 6th most yards per punt return. So they're not only, they're a good defense, but when you're talking about their returns, they're not so good at that. So to me, this should be, Devin Duvernay. Hopefully you can do something. Now with Olamide Zaccheaus, I've been kind of asking him to be a kick returner, asking him to be back there. But yeah, if Rome's not fully healthy and he's ends up not being able to go, then yeah, I put the brakes on it. But Devin Duvernay, you got to expect something out there for him to do something. So let's keep on going and let's break down who has the edge. We can kind of wrap things up. So who has the edge? The Bears offense versus this defense. So the Bears offense, we're going against a phenomenal defense. And our running attack has been really good. But yet again, I think their run defense with the breaking of open runs and stuff, I'm actually going to give the edge to them just because they were able to stop a very good running attack like the 49ers. With the Titans, I don't know. They were able to do it, but maybe they saw something on tape. Maybe Ben Johnson's able to capitalize. I'm giving it to the Browns. And also with their passing defense, I'm going to give it to the Browns as well. Our passing attack has not looked great as of recent. And also, too, they also have allowed the least amount of passing yards overall. So people don't end up passing it a lot on them. Even though that they have glaring weaknesses in this passing attack, people don't exploit it. So I'm hoping we can, but this defense is just really, really good. Now, if we flip it over to the other side and we start talking about this Bears defense versus this offense, I'm giving it a clean sweep for the Bears defense. This is an awful passing attack. The running game is difficult. Wrap up, bring them down. We're playing at home. You should be able to do that. So to me, I'm giving the edge, believe it or not, to the Bears defense and not so much for the Bears offense. So now let's talk about these game predictions. Let me know your game predictions down below in the chat and let me know what is your score prediction and one bold prediction. Taco Man saying 28-15 Bears. Let's see. This could be a good rebound game. This is Bear weather. This is what you want to see. This is how you want to go out there and play. Now, yet again, anytime that you have a good defense, it's going to be a hard-fought game. And if you look at their previous games, 31-29 loss to the Titans, and then 26-8 loss to the 49ers. And when you look at the 49ers game, the only reason why the 49ers scored was because of the mistakes that the Browns made. You have to allow them to kind of turn that ball over. And then they also beat the Raiders 24-10. And then before that, losing to the Ravens 23-16. And then losing to the Jets 27-20. And then losing to the Patriots 32-13. So when you're looking at this team, you got to put up some points. And you also then have to mess them up. So to me, I'm going to say I'm going to say the Bears bounce back. I'm going to say it's going to be, let me actually look at some of the Bears scores. Because I feel like breaking 30 is almost like we don't fully do that all the time. I'm going to say 27-13. 27-13 Bears. I'm going to say Kevin Byard gets an interception, even though that's not super bold. I'm going to say four turnovers. I'm going to say that we're going to go after that. So I'm going to say that we turn the ball over a lot. We're going to really just start to attack them, and that's how we're going to kind of turn it over. So I'd love to see just an absolute blowout. This is a team that you can do that with. You can start blitzing them early, getting the fans on your side and cheering for this defense. That's going to be big. So let's have a fun game, and then we can get right back. We can stay at home and beat up the Packers next week, Saturday. So that's going to be my prediction. Let's see. Taco Man's got 28-15 Bears. We also got Ron making some venison chili. Oh, my gosh. Yes, let's go. And he's saying 35-10. Gotta love that. Like Drax said, some Bambi chili. There you go. And also, I agree with you, Drax. I just want it to be a fun game. Exactly. Like, if we can just win this game and kind of just get back on track, because, like going from first all the way down to seventh stings a little bit, and we're going to be going against the Packers, the Niners, the Lions, all these teams that we're going to be fighting against coming out. You got to come up focused, and you got to take them out. So that is what I have to say. That is the show. And of course, Tony just shows up. Tony, bear down, my friend. Hope you're doing well. But let's see. And also, thank you, Drax, for sending out the stuff. I'm hoping things get better. I'm seeing my wife. I have a glass door right here on the other side. I'm just seeing her walk up and down the stairs. I'm like, okay, something is going on around the house. So that's my feeling. But yeah, Tony asking too, could we be first place if we win the next two games? We can. The biggest thing is that we just need we need the Rams to lose now, which the Rams are insane. So yeah, so I agree. Team is pissed. Let's get the dub. Bear down, everybody. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe out there with the podcast, and we will be live at 7:30 after the game to break down a Chicago Bears victory over the Browns in Soldier Field. So with that, make sure to like and subscribe. And with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's a